So this is Jimmy Brown with Brownstone Custom Cabinetry, and today I want to go over an old technique for ebonising wood. Recently I had a client ask me to make her an ebony and brown top hidden TV cabinet, which should be showing up as a picture right about now. And the way that I did that is that I used some walnut that I had left around, because walnut in its grain looks a lot like ebony does. And I ebonized it, which is a very old technique of blacking. In fact, the French word for master cabinet maker is eboniste, or one who ebonizes. So what I got here is a piece of walnut that I sort of turned into a little I don't know, doohickey pointer or whatever. And I'm going to show you how that works. This walnut's a nice brown color. And as you can see, it has very small pinholes that are diffused. They don't have any specific pattern like you would see on oak. All right. Here, I have a jar full of really nasty looking stuff, which is iron buck. So all that is iron that has been soaked in vinegar. So what we're talking about there is what I did was steel wool, but people can use nails. You can use anything you want. I put the steel wool overnight and used it. It was much clearer, but this is about a month or so later. We just finally got around to filming. So you will rub your iron buck onto any wood that is reactive to it. And those would be the woods like normal with a lot of tannic acid in it. So again, we're talking about your walnuts and we're talking about your cherries and so forth. But because the coloration that this thing is going to lead, which is a dark brown, almost black, you know, we really need to be looking at, say, a wood that will benefit from that type of coloration.
And Mr. Jimmy, what would this reaction be?
Okay, so all right. So the coloration there is gonna be like a very dark brown, ebony, almost black color. So I just dip it in, or you could rub it on. And like most things in finishing, it takes a fair amount of faith. Hold on one second, I'm gonna go get a piece of ebony. So the question that my daughter asked, she's doing all of our videography, is what are we going for? What's the end result? What's it going to look like after it's done? And there's a piece of the walnut. You can see it darkening from what it originally was. It wasn't too far from my color when we started, maybe a little bit lighter. And this is a piece of ebony that we're going to be mimicking. And like I said, if you look very closely, you can see, now you stay still, you can see the porousness of the ebony, that diffuse pores. And then if you stay still, and if you look right here, you can see the porousness of the walnut. So this walnut's a very wonderful and expensive wood, maybe $7 a board foot, $8 a board foot if you really know your your lumber guy and he likes you. But walnut is like, but ebony is, coming on $60 a board foot if you can ever get a full foot. So we're going to take, like normal with ebonizing, we're going to take a less expensive wood, turn it into a more expensive wood with some technique. And this is the technique, iron buck. So we're back. It's the next day, and I've allowed the iron buck to dry overnight, so the wood's completely dry. And you can see here that it's significantly darkened in color. Here's our piece of ebony, and there's our piece of walnut. Now, I'm going to put these two pieces together so you can really see how close the ebony and the walnut look. And if you put them together, you can see that there's really a very close approximation of what ebony looks like. But showing right here, you can see that the pores that I mentioned before with the walnut are slightly different than they are on the ebony. So what I like to do at this moment, because all finishing is a multi-step process, is that I will take some shellac, put it on the ebony, and then sand it to sort of fill in the grain. And here is what you get when you fill in the grain a little bit more. Also, I'll put some glazing on it, a darker glaze, so that we can fill in those pores, the coloration of the pores. So I'm going to flip this over again and show you what I'm talking about. Here we have where the color is good. There's brown in the ebony and black. There's brown and black in the walnut, but the brown and the black is it's lighter in the walnut. So what I did again is that I sanded it down with some shellac to fill the pores, and then I glazed it to darken those pores, and we end up with this coloration here. Now, because we use the iron butt, as deeply as the water went into the wood, that's how deep the stain and the penetration went on the color. So you can sand this very much. You can sand this and not have to worry about like busting up the edges on these corners here. Personally, a lot of times I'll stop with this coloration here and just finish it, and it'll be a lighter brown because it's more interesting to me. Sort of like the ebony has browns and blacks in it. But I think that we all sort of think of ebony in this coloration, this very, very dark black. So that's why typically I will glaze it to make those pores a darker color, even though it is darker than the actual ebony. And then, you know, you go ahead and finish it, make it shiny, sand it up. But that's a story for another day, that polishing and finishing. So again, ebonising cheaper woods to make more expensive woods, ebonising that walnut to make it look like ebony. And this has been Jimmy Brown with Brownstone Custom Cabinetry. You guys have a great day.